I would ask Chief Snell if you would like to comment on any of this.
Yeah, I would like to speak with the board regarding that, probably at a later time instead of here. But there are several variables one has to look at. What does the public think is the appropriate speed? If the public thinks the appropriate speed limit should be 45, I'm not sure they want the police out there writing everyone who's going 46, 47, 48 miles an hour over the speed limit, giving them a ticket. There is no what I call rule of thumb, but I don't think anybody in this room who's had a traffic ticket ever got one for less than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. And I think we have to be careful on what we assume we want the speed limit to be. If we say it's 45, then we're willing to accept 55. I think the courts would be over inundated. You would be hearing from the judges if we started writing for 1 to 2 to 3 mile an hour over the speed limit. So what we have to look at when we look at this is what is exactly the speed limit that we want for that road, and what are our parameters for allowing those to go over that speed limit. Because that's something we need to look at. If you raise it up to 45 from a 35, then are we accepting 55 miles an hour traffic? So it's just not lowering the speed limit or raising the speed limit to what the public want. It's really is that what is it that they really want, and how do they want us to enforce it? Because if we raise it to 45, are they going to be upset and calling me when everybody's going 49, 54, 55 miles an hour? And then I've got to go out there and start writing tickets for less than 10 miles over the speed limit.
Historically, when road speed limits are made, and some of these that were changed obviously have been in effect for many years, what type of study or is there that's done to? Well,
the only information I provided the town board, because I don't have all the accident data that comes from the county Metropolitan Traffic Study Group. The only data that I provided the town was traffic speed study. We did a traffic speed study on the roads prior to the recommendation, lighting the traffic. One of the things that we found on almost all roads that we did our traffic studies on is that about 19% of all of the people travel 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. And that seemed to be common, anywhere from 15 to 20%, but usually it was around 19% of the traffic was doing about 10 miles an hour over the speed limit on any given road.
Were you involved with the reduction on Mud Mill?
Well, I was involved in the reduction of all of them. I've been here 14 years, so yeah.
The justification for particularly Mud Mill at 35 when it's from Sneller Road is where it was changed to Route 11.
Well, my position has always been to provide the town board with data and statistics. I don't make a recommendation as to what the speed limit should be. That's the town board makes that decision.
Right. But you provided data.
Yes, we went up and ran the speed sentry device up there for quite a while and brought data back to the town board.
Yeah.
It seems to me the government always tries to punish the majority for the few. And 20%, 15 or 20%, and make the rules according to those few people, while the rest of all the silent majority, so to speak, the law abiders, have to suffer for what the few do in error for whatever reason. And it's not right that the government forces that issue on the rest of the people for such a few people.
Unfortunately, I think that is precedent in just about anything from the government organizations and
I know.
apples and motorcycles. So perceived, yes, and I understand what you're saying.
It's not right.
Don, relative to the suburban town, prior to that enactment, we have many people come up, neighborhood groups, and say, look, can you help us reduce the road, speed on certain roads? And we couldn't. We would make a request to the county we'd have to refer it out.
But Jim, but I'm sure the county didn't just say, no, they ought to remain at the same place because they were bad people. I think they had traffic study people, they had people in their staff that in fact look at the roads, do traffic studies, do speed studies. Nothing against the chief and what he was asked to do. He gave you data that you asked for and he gave it to you. But if I can't believe the county would forget the safety of the community in town of Cicero and say, no, what you want to do with that speed limit is wrong and it should stay what it is, and knowing that was not right. I mean, their criteria said that's what it should be. We all of a sudden became a suburban town. We used a different criteria. We used, in general, the criteria of the people that complain. Now, in your little neighborhood, that's one thing. I don't think, you know, he's not, the gentleman's vote, it was not talking about in a neighborhood, those, you know, I'd probably make that 20 miles an hour in a neighborhood because of the way you got kids playing in the street and stuff. But when you start talking about South Bay, and you start talking about Outer Mud Mill, I mean, Ladd Road, Bartell, you know, he's talking about almost the boonies as it's compared to, you know, Island Road might be another one.
With that being said, though, I think the majority, correct me if I'm wrong, wouldn't you rather have, if you had an issue with speed limits within the town, come before this board as opposed to having to deal with the county?
Well,
local
based on what happened here, the answer is no. I wish it would have been left alone because I would have left all these. And I guess, again, if 20% of the people, and the chief has the numbers, if 20% of the people are the cause, are speeding, then damn it, those 20% of the people ought to get a cotton picking ticket. Because the rest of us, 80%, will drive within the speed limit. Now, the chief has a good point that, you know, if he does it for everybody who goes 5 miles over the speed limit, the judges are going to complain because they haven't got enough calendar time to take care of the numbers. But he also did not say, folks, that we can go 10 miles an hour and he wouldn't give us a ticket. So don't listen to what the chief said. He did not say he will not ticket you if you go 9 miles an hour. He said, you know, he would not like to start, and he doesn't think we would like to have everybody at 5 miles over get a ticket. But be careful, because if his guys have something to do,
easy to word.
May I?
Sure.
I just wanted to, first of all, the former councilor, Charlotte Tarwacki, used to complain about the town becoming a huge parking lot because of all of the reductions in speed. I do want to remind people of that. And also, unlike Mr. Snyder, what I heard, I'm one of these people who tries to go the speed limit, but what I heard tonight is that I can go 40 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. That's what I heard, and I'm willing to bet that a lot of other people hear that same thing. Just a guess. And I don't want to be punished for what 20% of the population is doing. Thank you.
Before we go any further, would the students like to come up and get their paperwork signed?
They've suffered enough. Let them go home.